English Learning Podcast.
From Easy English with Class.
I have to start today's deep dive with a confession. And I feel like this is a safe space to make it because I have a feeling I'm not alone in this.
Ooh. Okay, we're all friends here. Go for it.
Okay, so there is one specific social situation that it absolutely terrifies me. It isn't public speaking. It isn't asking for a raise. It's that moment at a dinner party or maybe a family reunion with relatives you haven't seen in 5 years. You're holding a drink, you're making small talk, and then they look you in the eye and ask the 4 most dreaded words in the English language.
Oh, I know exactly where this is going. So what do you do?
Yes, or the variation that's, I think, arguably even worse.
So what do you do all day?
Exactly. And on the surface, it sounds so innocent. It's just polite conversation, right? But my brain completely short circuits. I freeze.
Yeah.
I suddenly forget every productive thing I have ever done in my entire career. I forget my title, and I usually end up saying something incredibly articulate like, I work at a computer, I do things, it's busy.
Which, to be fair, makes you sound like you're either a secret agent covering your tracks or you have absolutely no idea what your job actually is.
Right. And afterward, I'm just kicking myself. I'm driving home thinking, I manage complex projects. I solve difficult problems. Why did I just sound like a glitching robot?
This is a universal pain point.
Oh.
It's that gap between knowing your job and explaining your job. And that is exactly why I was so excited to dig into the stack of research for today's deep dive. We are looking at a really comprehensive guide titled How to Talk About Your Daily Work Routine.
Now, we should add a little disclaimer here for everyone listening. This source material is technically designed as a curriculum for English language learners.
It is. It's a language guide through and through.
But, and this is a huge but, as we were going through it, we realized something fascinating. This isn't just about grammar or vocabulary. The principles inside are basically a masterclass in, executive presence.
I completely agree. It doesn't matter if you are a native speaker or you've been learning the language for 6 months. The core problem this guide identifies is universal. When we can't describe our jobs clearly, we don't just sound vague. To the listener, we sound unconfident.
Disorganized, even.
Totally. It signals a lack of clarity in our own minds.
So our mission today is to fix that. We are going to unpack the specific formulas, the vocabulary swaps, and the structural hacks in this guide that turn that stumbling I do stuff answer into a confident, compelling work story.
It's about moving from a laundry list of tasks to an actual narrative. That's the goal.
Okay, so let's start with the diagnosis. Why do we freeze up? Because it's not like we don't know our jobs. I know exactly what I do when I sit down at 9 a.m. Why can't I say it? The source lays out 5 common pitfalls, and I have to say, reading these felt a little like a personal attack.
They're very, very relatable. Let's look at the first one. Generalization. This is your I do work problem. The source points out that when we're put on the spot, people tend to rely on these weak, empty verbs. I do things, I handle stuff, I work on the computer.
It gives the listener absolutely nothing to hold on to. It's like saying, I eat food. Okay, great. But are you a gourmet chef tasting a menu, or are you just hungry at 2 a.m.?
Exactly. It creates this fog. The listener has to do all the work to imagine what your day looks like. Then there's the second pitfall, which I think is really subtle but critical. Tense confusion.
This one is so interesting because it feels like a grammar point, and we will get into the grammar later, but It's actually a psychological one.
Right. The guide highlights the difference between what you usually do, your routine, your actual role, and what you're doing today. And when people mix those up, they sound chaotic.
How so?
Well, if you answered the big picture question, what do you do, with I'm stressing about a deadline right now, you haven't actually answered the question. You've just unloaded your current mood on them.
That is such a good distinction. You're answering how are you instead of what do you do. You're letting the stress of the moment hijack your professional identity.
Precisely. And then we have the third pitfall, the laundry list. This is when someone asks about your day and you just start firing off bullet points like a machine gun.
Email, meeting, lunch, more meeting, Excel, email.
Yes. It's disorienting.
Yeah.
I feel exhausted just hearing you say that.
Me too.
Without structure, it's just noise. The listener gets lost because there's no narrative flow. They don't know if email took 5 minutes or 5 hours. And that usually leads directly to the fourth pitfall, oversharing.
Oh, the TMI trap, the too much information danger zone.
Yeah, the source warns against giving too many minor details, or worse, accidentally sharing confidential info because you're just rambling to fill the silence. You start complaining about a specific client named Bob, and then you realize you shouldn't be talking about Bob's account.
And finally, the fifth pitfall, the dead end. This is when you give your answer, you just drop it on the floor, and then silence. You stare at them. They stare at you.
And you can't handle a follow-up. Like, is it busy? What? So the whole conversation just dies this painful death. What connects all these pitfalls, and the source is really insightful here, is a psychological barrier. We are so deep in the weeds of doing the work that we lose the language to describe the work. We lack what it calls a narrative bridge.
We're too close to it. We see the pixels, not the picture.
Exactly. We need to step back.
So let's build that bridge. The source introduces this formula that I am absolutely stealing for my own life. It's an acronym. TASK, task.
This is the core solution. If you take nothing else away from this deep dive, take this formula. It frames your thinking. TASK stands for time, action, system, and key point.
Okay, let's unpack this because it seems simple, but I think the magic is in the combination. So T is for time.
Simple enough. When do you do it? I start at 9 in the morning. On Mondays. It anchors the listener immediately. It tells them where we are in the story.
Right. It prevents that floating, timeless feeling of the laundry list. Okay. A is for action.
This goes right back to avoiding I do work. What is the specific action? I check emails. I join a meeting. I write a report. It needs to be a tangible verb.
Got it. S is for system.
And this adds the context. How do you do it? Who are you with? On Zoom, with the finance team, using Outlook. It just paints the picture so the listener can visualize you.
And key point. I feel like this is the one most people forget.
It is the most important one and the most neglected. This is the so what. What is the result or the priority? To finish a report, to support the team, it gives the action meaning. Without the key point, you're just a robot performing tasks. With it, you're a professional achieving goals.
I love this because it stops the rambling. Okay, let's try a little role play here. I want to demonstrate just how painful the wrong way is first. So I'll be the messy speaker channeling my worst dinner party self. Ask me what my day is like.
All right, so tell me, what does your day look like?
Well, you know, a lot.
Great.
I do a lot of things. I have some emails and then meetings. I talk to people and then I do more work on the computer. It's really busy.
Okay, honestly, I'm bored, I'm confused, and I kind of want to walk away to get more potato salad. I have no idea if you're a CEO or an intern.
Ouch. Okay, fair. That was painful to say, honestly. Now let me try it again using TASK. Time, action, system, key point.
Go for it.
I start work at 9. First, I check emails and messages. Then I join a meeting on Zoom with the team. My main priority today is finishing a report for a client.
Night and day difference.
It feels different to say it, too. It feels structured. I feel like I'm in control of the answer.
You are. Let's look at why that worked. I start at 9 is time. Check emails is action. On Zoom is system. Finishing a report is the key point. You gave me a complete logical picture in about 10 seconds.
And I didn't have to search for words. The formula gave me the slots to fill. But, and here's the catch, to make that work, you need the right words to put in those slots. You can't just rely on I do. The source has this great section on upgrading your vocabulary.
It's like swapping out a dull knife for a scalpel. The right verb changes how people perceive your seniority and your competence.
Right, so the guide categorizes these verbs. Instead of saying, I get ready for work, which sounds like you're just putting on your shoes, it suggests professional alternatives.
Yes. Things like I log in, I check my calendar, or I review my tasks.
Review is such a power verb. It implies you're analyzing, not just looking. I look at my calendar is passive. I review my calendar is active.
Exactly. And for communication, stop saying, I write emails.
Yeah, right. It implies you're composing a novel or something. It sounds like a creative writing class.
Right. It focuses on the physical act of typing. The source suggests, I reply to, I handle requests, or the holy grail of corporate speak, follow up.
Oh, follow-up is magic. It sounds so proactive. I'm following up with the client. It implies there's a process. You are on top of it, and you are driving it forward.
It signals reliability. And for execution, the actual work swap, I do the project, for I update a document, I solve problems, or I submit work. These verbs carry weight. They imply competence.
Now, we mentioned the laundry list problem earlier, where people just say email, meeting, lunch. The source says the cure for this is using time phrases.
Think of these as signposts. If you just list tasks, the listener is hacking through a jungle with no map. Time freezes clear the path.
Simple things too, like in the morning, after that, before lunch.
It turns the list into a story. First I do this, then I do that. After that, I go here. It gives your day a beginning, a middle, and an end. It engages the listener's narrative brain.
And the source mentions a really important one. At the end of the day,
That signals closure. At the end of the day, I send an update. The listener subconsciously relaxes because they know where they are in the story. They know you're wrapping up.
I want to circle back to something we touched on, grammar. Specifically, the distinction between routine and right now. The source gets really specific about present simple versus present continuous. And I know grammar talk can be dry, but why is this so critical here?
Because mixing these up is the quickest way to sound unsure of yourself. It blurs the line between your job description and your current stress level.
Okay, so break down the rule for us.
So the rule in the source is clear. Use present simple for your habits, your routine, the things that are true every week. I usually start at 9. I have meetings on Mondays. I manage a team.
That's your baseline. That's your identity in the role.
Right. It's permanent. But you use present continuous for temporary states or today's specifics. I am working on a report today. I am dealing with a deadline.
So if I say I work with clients, that means it's my job. If I say I am working with a client, it means right now, don't bother me.
Precisely. And here's where it goes wrong. If you say, I am working with clients, when someone asks what you do generally, it sounds like you only have a job for today. It sounds temporary. But if you say, I work on reports today, it just sounds grammatically broken. Keeping those distinct shows you have a handle on your schedule.
That's a great analogy. You know the difference between the fire you are fighting now and the forest you are managing.
Exactly. The forest and the fire.
Speaking of having a handle on things, I absolutely love the section on staling the answer. This is brilliant. The source suggests having 3 levels of answers ready, depending on who you're talking to.
This is Context Awareness 101. You don't give a level 3 answer to a level 1 question. That is the definition of being a bore.
Right, so let's define them so people listening can prep these. Level 1 is the short answer.
This is one sentence. I usually start at 9 and work on projects. Done. This is for a casual acquaintance, maybe an elevator, or your distant cousin at a loud party who is just being polite.
They don't really want the details. They just want to know you're employed and alive.
Exactly. They're being polite. You be polite back with brevity.
Then you have level 2, medium.
2 to 3 sentences. This uses that first, then structure we talked about. I start at 9. First, I check emails. Then I work on my main project for the afternoon. This is great for a friend who is actually interested or a colleague from a different department.
And level 3 is the long answer.
4 to 6 sentences. This is the deep dive. Before lunch, I do this. In the afternoon, I do that. And my key focus is, this is for a manager or a new team member you are training, or maybe your spouse, who genuinely wants to know why you're so tired.
The key here is choice. You consciously choose the level before you open your mouth. It prevents that oversharing problem because you've already set a boundary on how much you're going to say.
It's strategic communication. It respects the other person's time.
Now, what about when you can't share? We live in a world of NDAs and confidential client data. The source has a section on polite boundaries.
This is so crucial. You don't want to just say, I can't tell you, and walk away. That creates such a weird vibe.
Yeah, it sounds like you're being secretive for the sake of it, or that you don't trust them.
Right. So the source offers scripts like, it's a bit hard to explain, but I mostly work on projects, or I can't share details, but I work with clients in the healthcare sector.
I like that shift. You focus on the type of work rather than the content.
Exactly. You're answering the structural question without revealing the data. You satisfy their curiosity about your role without violating your contract.
And to keep the conversation from hitting that dead end, the source emphasizes that it's a two-way street. You need follow-up questions.
Asking questions is the ultimate social hack. It relieves the pressure on you immediately. If you finish your description and ask, is it busy these days at your work? Or do you work from home? Parley, you've successfully passed the ball.
You look interested, and you get a break from speaking.
And is it busy these days? Is such a safe, universal question. Everyone is busy. Everyone has an opinion on their busyness. It's the perfect pivot.
Okay, we're going to do a rapid fire round. The source has a list of common mistakes that, honestly, I hear native speakers make messy versions of all the time. I'm going to give you the mistake, and you give me the quick fix from the text.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Mistake number 1, I do meeting.
Don't say that. Say, I have a meeting, or I join a meeting. Have implies ownership. Join implies participation. Do meeting sounds like you are the meeting.
Okay, I work in office.
Missing the article. Say, I work in an office. Or be specific. I work at the downtown branch.
I rate emails.
We touched on this, but unless you're composing a newsletter, say, I answer, or I reply to emails. It sounds more functional.
I have many works.
Oh, yeah. Work is uncountable here. You can't have 3 works. Say, I have a lot of work, or I have many tasks.
And finally, my favorite, the emotional dump. My work is very hard. I am very tired.
Keep it professional. Just say, it's a bit busy, or it's been a busy week.
It's a bit busy. That is the ultimate professional understatement, isn't it?
It signals resilience rather than exhaustion. It says, I am handling the load, not the load is crushing me.
So what does this all mean? We've looked at a guide that's supposedly for learning English, but we've really found a blueprint for professional confidence.
It really comes down to structure. The TASK, formula time, action system, key point, and those signpost time phrases like first and then. These aren't just grammar rules. They are tools for cognitive clarity.
It's about having a script in your head so you don't have to invent your life story from scratch every time someone asks you that question.
Exactly. When you have the script, the panic disappears. You can choose level 1, 2, or 3. You can handle the boundaries. You're in control.
And that control reads as competence to everyone listening.
For sure.
I want to leave our listeners with a thought to chew on, something that struck me while we were breaking this down. We spend so much time worrying about how we sound to other people.
Sure.
But here's the provocative thought. We've been talking about how to describe your day to others. What if you used the TASK formula to describe your day to yourself?
Whoa, interesting.
If you wake up and say, okay, I start at 9, my action is checking email, my key point is, and if you can't articulate your key point for the day using the simple formula, do you actually have one?
Wow. That cuts deep. We often just run on autopilot.
Exactly. Does clarifying your routine for an imaginary listener actually help you clarify your own purpose? If you can't explain it simply, time, action, key point, maybe you aren't prioritizing it clearly.
That is a powerful place to leave it. Maybe the most important person we need to explain our job to is ourselves.
Thanks for diving in with us today.
A pleasure.
Now go out there and tell your story. Level 1, 2, or 3. We'll see you on the next deep dive.